This is the Tigers POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Detroit Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, that's not how that game was supposed to go. What the heck? Tigers lose to Chicago White Sox in Chicago. 8-1 the final in this one, and that stung a little bit. Like I said, what's going on? Welcome into a live Locked On Tigers postcast. I'm your host, Jake Riepma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Riepma, and this is the Locked On Tigers postcast, your post-game destination for all things Detroit Tigers. Instant reaction show, all part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team each and every day. Free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and of course, on YouTube, the audio version only available wherever you get your podcast. All right, it was a bullpen day. We'll break that down. AJ Hinch decides to pinch hit for Kerry Carpenter in the 6th inning. And hey, you got 162 of these. Going to need a bounce back tomorrow and hopefully in the finale as well to take 3 or 4 from these guys. So buckle up, dial it in, and a less jubilant Locked On Tigers postcast starts right now. As always, your comments are welcome. Go ahead and fire up the comment box on the live YouTube chat. We'll get to as many as we can, and we try to make heads and tails of what went down. As always, we begin with our major talking point and the biggest reaction in this one.
This is what you'll be talking about.
You can chalk it up to an off night. You can chalk it up to the weather. You can chalk it up to a couple of odd plays, the air by Hannafy, the unfortunate bounce off of Holton that extends the inning and ultimately leads to the 3-run homer for Taylor. All a part of a night that just didn't go the Tigers' way against a much inferior opponent. And I don't think anyone even supporting the Chicago White Sox would disagree with me on that. But the bigger conversation, and I saw some chatter on Twitter about this, is that it just doesn't feel like this Tigers bullpen has that same gusto or that same oomph as a year ago in that magical run after the trade deadline to the postseason. And when you have the best record in baseball and you have one goal on your mind, win the division and make some noise into the postseason, and ultimately, I don't think it's wrong to say, but compete for a World Series, you can start having these conversations even though it is only June 3rd. What does the trade market look like before the deadline for the Tigers to add a bona fide bullpen arm or shore up the bullpen in any way? Is that the direction you want to see Scott Harris and company go? I think tonight was an example, and Tyler Holton, we're not picking on him, but merely stating that he just doesn't look like the same guy. He gives up the 3-run homer, and the stats aren't egregious by any means, but there's noticeable drop-off in his overall ability to finish innings in particular. And tonight is just a perfect example of that in the 6th inning, where one thing goes wrong and all of a sudden, before you can blink, it's a 3-run homer for Michael A. Taylor. And what has just went from a 1-0 game now becomes a 4-0 game. And I really didn't think it was out of reach at that point per se, but we can all agree that that's the biggest takeaway from tonight, that you're worried about Tyler Holton as he gets the first out of the inning, and then the infield single to third. He gets 2 outs with a runner on first, and the unfortunate ground ball that ultimately ends up at shortstop to put 2 on, and then the home run from Taylor to make it 4-0. And like I said, there's a lot of different factors, a lot of different components. And again, I'm not picking on Tyler Holton, but I think it warrants a discussion of whether or not he's that same guy that you can count on to pitch in high leverage situations, and really the standard that he set last year because of the dominance. And certainly you wouldn't expect that to be replicated in its exact form this year. There was some foreseeable fall off, but again, going back to what I said, that there's still enough of a sample size, here we are on June 3rd, that conversation can be had. That's my 2 cents, and I would love to hear your comments on it as well as we work through our comment section right now. Always enjoy getting the pulse of the people. And before we get into that, the other thing I'll add, I hated the move to pinch hit for Kerry Carpenter in the 6th inning. Way too much baseball left to be played in this one. This is a guy that's less than 24 hours removed from 3 bombs, and you're taking the bat out of his hand for who? Andy Ibanez. And this is not picking on Andy Ibanez either. I love Andy Ibanez. His strength, hitting against lefties. And I totally understand the splits. So save me with those comments. I understand how baseball works, where lefty on lefty, and the matchup for Kerry Carpenter on paper wasn't as favorable, but it was so short-sighted in that particular moment to take the bat out of Kerry Carpenter's. This isn't picking on Andy Ibanez. He's responsible for one of my favorite moments as a Tigers fan. Last year, that hit at now then Minute Maid Park, now Dakin Park against the Astros. I was screaming at the TV. That was one of the best moments in the recent years for the Tigers. But that tonight, putting him in the pinch hit for Kerry Carpenter in the 6th inning, I disagreed with that. This season against lefties, 59 at bats, 14 hits, 676 OPS. So he's not raking against lefties to justify taking a guy out who had 3 home runs last night in a game where you needed runs. And again, at that time in the ball game, the Tigers in the top half of the 6th were only down 1-0 when you get Andy Ibanez pinch hitting for Kerry Carpenter. So hindsight's always 20/20. Of course, AJ knows that, and that's what he says anytime he's pressed on a decision like this, and he's speaking to the media right now. So I wish I had the ability to hear his comments and then react to it, but the instant reaction doesn't afford us that, which is fine. But that being said, it was a move that didn't work out. And as a manager who is one of the best managers in all of baseball, and I think you could even make the case the best manager in all of baseball, I disagreed with this one. It was a little bit of a head scratcher. And I mean, Ibanez is not, he's hitting $184 in his in the last 30 days. So lefty on righty, I get it, but I mean, the OPS, the numbers and everything, it's not like it warranted that rash decision to yank Kerry Carpenter out of the game. That's what I thought. All right, comments. DT Lyons is up next. Why does our offense decide to F off sometimes? I mean, come on. These aren't even good pitchers we're facing. Yeah. Tough night for the offense. And, hey, I mean, I guess he gives credit to the winning pitcher for the Chicago White Sox in Shane Smith. He gets the win for going 5 1/3, scattered just 3 hits, did not allow a run, and he struck out 6. Other comments to get to as well. Thomas Rotondi, please send Trey Sweeney down and DFA Ibanez. Trey Sweeney is an interesting one. I love the idea of making a gutsy move for Bo Bichette from the Toronto Blue Jays. And thanks for your service, Trey Sweeney, but we're trying to win a World Series. And I think Bo Bichette gives you a better option or a better chance at doing exactly that. Gary Meyer says, you will have these from time to time, shake it off, move on, and focus on winning the series. I agree. I would echo those same remarks. Gary Matter says the Tigers offense is way more mediocre than anyone will admit because of all the late game heroics this season that aren't sustainable. I'm not the first to say it. 91 season at best. Well, Gray Matter, we appreciate your optimism on a Tuesday night, June 3rd. No, I'm reading some of the comments, and some people, and listen, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, so I'm not picking on our guy Gray Matter here, but I just think that's a quick, pretty rash reaction. And it's not like the Tigers only have late inning production. I mean, they're one of the best teams at early inning production offensively, so I would disagree with that. All right. Gitchy Gammy says, did Daniela Bruce get out of the elevator? Wow, too much yak. Yeah, she was stuck in the elevator. That is true. That was reported on the FanDuel broadcast. I saw it on social media as well. Demetrius McNeil says all the runs were used in game 1. The next night end up flat. Still the best record in baseball. However, come back next game. Yeah, I think we're all on the same page with exactly that. The dude says, there goes the winning streak. Bullpen night was a fail. Let's go Gibson Long. Yeah, Sawyer Gibson Long to start tomorrow. That's exciting. I meant to get to that later in the program, but I appreciate you bringing that up, the dude, because that's something to look forward to. I'm excited to see what transpires there in game number 3 of the 4-game series. All right, let's take a quick timeout. Got to keep the lights on here at Locked On and the Locked On Podcast Network. Back in a moment to reveal our player of the game, our turning point, and tie a bow on this one live. Locked On Tigers Postcasts. Hey, today's episode of the Locked On Tigers Postcast is brought to you by Supply House. If you need the supplies for the site that's made for the skilled trades, well, Supply House is your destination. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product information to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. And if you need help with an order, well, don't you worry. Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. Let me repeat that. You'll talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it's your turn. So join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM, supplyhouse.com/TM, and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. That's promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. Promo code SH5, SH5, SH5 for 5% off your first order at supplyhouse.com. This episode of the Locked On Tigers Postcast is also brought to you by our friends at Monarch Money. If you've ever checked your bank account and wondered, where did all my money go? And well, I'm here to help you. Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track, and that's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. No. It's way more than that. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. It helps you stop just managing your money and start building your wealth. There's also surprising insights. When I started using Monarch Money, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. I mean, come on, Jake, what are you doing? Now I budget smarter and save so much more. There's easy collaboration tools that make managing your money with your partner smoother than ever. Take it from me, I just got engaged. Well, I guess it's been a little bit over a couple months now, but you get the idea. We track our shared and personal accounts, and we set goals, stay together on the same page to alleviate the stress. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. And we're cruising right along on a live Locked On Tigers postcast. I've lost complete cabin pressure on the comments section. No producer to read my comments for me, and all the comments are coming in too fast. So I apologize if and when I miss some, but appreciate all the participation on tonight's live Locked On Tigers postcast. Despite the Tigers losing the Chicago White Sox 8-1, they fall to 40-22 on the season, 19-14 away from home. Still the best record in the American League, in the American League Central, and all of Major League Baseball for that matter. But easy for us to say that when you lose to the lowly White Sox. We got to make ourselves feel better, right? Appreciate everybody tuning in tonight, and let's get into our turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
It's real simple. Tyler Holton grooving that pitch to Taylor, who deposited the ball over the fence and broke this game from a 1-0 pitchers duel to a 4-0 White Sox lead. And eventually the bullpen just kind of ran out of some gas and the White Sox cruised to the victory. But again, I don't want to sound like a broken record. We only get 15 minutes on these post-game shows, instant reaction shows, but I disagreed with the decision to pinch hit for Kerry Carpenter. I am concerned about Tyler Holton and his inability to finish innings. And you know what? I'll add a positive, though. Riley Green's 2 more hits again and continues to be and albeit one of them was a check swing. But hey, 2 more hits for Riley Green, and he continues to be such a bright spot for this Tigers team. Let's get into our player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
I mean, we got to be fair in this. I think you got to go with Taylor, who has the 4 RBI on the night, and that was the difference. I mean, Michael Taylor getting it done for the White Sox, the 3-run homer, and the RBI in the beginning portion of the game in the 4th inning there. I couldn't remember what inning it was in the 4th inning with the bases loaded walk that scored the game's first run. So kind of odd to think a 19-win Chicago White Sox team kind of just took care of the Tigers tonight, 8-1. But baseball's a funny game. We can all agree with that. 2 more against the White Sox. And with that being said, you've got a pitching matchup to look forward to tomorrow, because the bullpen day for the Chicago White Sox is an opportunity for Detroit to jump on that White Sox bullpen, which I believe, I mean, man, that's, you got to feel good about a bullpen day for the opposition when you're coming off a game where you didn't score very much, like tonight, just the 1 run, and you're trying to get into the offensive side of things and wake that offense up a little bit, because man, this is too good of a Tigers team to lose 2 straight against a really, really bad White Sox team, which I don't anticipate happening. And then meanwhile, for the Tigers, it's not official, but we do know, if depending on who you follow, I believe this was from Evan Woodbury's, who I saw it from first on Twitter. I'm not sure if he was the only one with it. He covers the Tigers for M Live, but Sawyer Gipson-Long will get the start tomorrow, but not official. In fact, bear with me as I check the Tigers projected starters on MLB.com and see if they have it listed. They do have it listed. Okay, so Sawyer Gipson-Long officially will start for the Tigers tomorrow, and we'll be on the air after the conclusion of that game. Looking forward to it, because, hey, you got to bounce back. There's 162 of these. How often do I say that? And it would be nice if the Tigers can go out and give our guy Sawyer Gipson-Long some run support on a day the White Sox will have a bullpen day. So appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. The comments were great. Sorry I lost track of the comment section. Admittedly, there's only so much bandwidth in this tiny little brain of mine, and between the graphics and the trying to articulate coherent sentences and look up Tigers starting pitching, there's a lot going on, and I lost track of the comments tonight. But that doesn't mean I don't appreciate them, and always revel in the opportunity to be on the air on a live Locked On Tigers postcast. So check out Locked On Tigers with Scott Bentley. Make sure you like and subscribe. And even though the Tigers lost tonight, they're still the best team in baseball. Don't get down. We'll hope for a better result tomorrow. Have a wonderful night. And until then, go Tigers, and talk to you after tomorrow's game.